Hello and welcome back to Random Vids. Today, I'm doing another ranking video. I know it doesn't get the most views, but I hope this one does. So I'm going to be ranking one of my favorite TV shows, and that is the 101 Dalmatians TV show. The series, not the new street thing, whatever. I'm talking about the original, the series, the one back in the 1990s. Those ones. So, let's get started. And no, it's not going to be the whole season. It's only going to be, not the whole show. It's only going to be the first season. Just season 1 for this video at least. If I like it and if you guys like it, I'll do more. But this is what I have so far. So let's get started. Number 21, and my personal least favorite episode, is Love 'Em and Flee 'Em. Now, I know, some people really do like this episode, but for me, it feels like Lucky is just being tortured badly for no reason. One of my least favorite characters in the whole show would have to go to Moach. He is so annoying and not likable at all. And for some reason, he hangs out with Dipstick and Whizzer, who actually are some of my favorite characters in the show. But there is just way better episodes with both Dipstick and Whizzer in it. I just feel like they go on and on about the whole Mooch torturing Lucky thing. It is so annoying, and I'm done with this episode. Number 20 would have to go to He Followed Me Home. This episode is definitely much better than Love 'Em and Flee 'Em, but it's still bad. Well, more boring than bad, I guess. All that happens is that an elephant that happens to accidentally have gotten out of the train happens to find the Dearly's farm, and pretty much just ruins everything. Like I said, he pretty much just ruins everything. All while Cruella Deville just spies on them just because she says, you can only have 101 pups. Just a weird and boring episode. Number 19 would go to Out to Lunch. This episode seems pretty cool. Someone just, I don't know, going out to space? It seems really cool, right? Right? Well, all that happens is that the pups and Spot go into space with Jasper and Horse. Kind of. Well, when the ship separates, Jasper and Horse are in that bottom part, and they just fall back down to Earth, I guess. And also, that radio thing is kind of annoying. Number 18 would go to The High Price of Fame. Spot turns into a superhero. Need I say more? Number 17 would go to How Noon. This episode is one of the first episodes with that green pug thing. You know what? I'm just calling him Green Pug. And honestly, I don't really like him at all. But he isn't as bad in this one as he is in some other episodes. Altogether, though, this episode is pretty boring. Number 16 would have to go to Easy on the Lies. This episode kind of really reminds me of Love 'Em and Flee 'Em, where someone is torturing someone, which happens to be Rowley in this episode instead of Lucky. But it's done way, way better than Love 'Em and Flee 'Em. Plus, it's not for the whole episode, and it's not for just Rowley. The episode is still pretty boring, though. Number 15 would go to Profit and Loss. So, everybody in this episode thinks that Cadpig is this, how should I say, this psychic thing, aka fortune teller. Um, just because she predicted stuff like, oh, that windmill is gonna fall. Of course it's gonna fall. The episode is still kind of boring and predictable, but it is a better one with Dipstick and Whizzer in it, who, as I said, are one of my favorite characters. And at least it tries something new, but it's not top 10. Number 14 would go to Southern Fried Cruella. So what happens is that Cruella just takes over the farm. That's really all she does. It actually isn't too boring, and it did try something new, kind of like the last episode. But kind of like the last episode, it isn't quite top 10. Number 13 would go to Two for the Show. I mean, it's just a decent episode. Honestly though, one of my least, well, the one character I do forget the most that is in the show is Swamp Rat. And he is one of my least favorite characters because of that. Hey, it rhymed. Honestly, out of all of the episodes in Season 1, this is the one that I forget the most. It's not a bad episode, it's just boring. Number 12 would go to Wild Chick Chase. A cute chick that just somehow just always keeps getting in trouble. And, it's alright. It's a little boring, but it's better than the other episodes that we've already talked about. Number 11 would go to Watch for Falling Idols. You know, it's kind of silly how the TV show goes towards, I guess, Lucky being a big fan of Thunderbolt, but then the 101 Dalmatians 2 movie is more Patch. Weird, but still a pretty good episode. But it's kind of just like the if the 101 Dalmatians 2 movie was just an episode. I don't need to say anything else. Episode's pretty good. Yeah. Number 10 would go to... Oh yeah, we're in the top 10 now, so number 10 would go to Swine's Song. Dumpling, that pig, just falls in love with Rowley. It's pretty sweet, but still a little boring. I don't need to say anything else. Pretty good. Let's just move on. Number 9 would go to The Dogs of Deville. You're starting to get into the pretty good stuff now. And this episode honestly kind of reminds me of Two for the Show, but much, much better. And it isn't really boring. Anyway, the Dearleys are going to go on a picnic. Then Cruella calls and wants Anita to go to work. And I think you know the rest of the episode. It's pretty good, and definitely a top 10 best favorite. Number 8 would go to Rowleys' Eggcellent Eventure. This episode is kind of like the Chick Chase, but better. I like the whole situation. With Rowleys sitting on the eggs and hatching them. I also like how the chicks do exactly what Rowley do, and Cruella is just kind of in this episode, because why not? It's a really silly episode, and definitely top 10 for Season 1. Number 7 would go to Dog's Best Friend. First off, Blaze is very cute, and it's too bad that he wasn't in any other episodes. Plus, the episode was just very sweet overall. Number 6 would go to Home is Where the Bark Is. This is a very good episode, and it actually is the very first episode of the series. And they do a really good job, and it is kind of like, once again, kind of like the second 101 Dalmatians, just a TV show. Nothing else I have to say. It's very good, and a really good first episode. We are in the top 5 with number 5 going to An Officer and a Gentle Dog. One of my favorite characters in the show would go to Tripod. I mean, the main reason why is probably because he has only 3 legs. I mean, the name kind of gives it away. Tri equals 3. But, Plus, he's very nice in this episode and lets Lucky win, even though Green Pug was kind of annoying in this episode. But I really like this episode, and it is really funny, too. Just, yeah, I don't need to say anything else. The Great Cat Invasion. Kind of like the last one that I talked about, and but it's even better. Yet, mainly because Green Pug isn't annoying in this one, and Cruella is in it, I guess. It's really funny, and it's good, for sure. Number 3 would go to No Train, No Game. Some episodes are what I call specials, where they're 20 minutes instead of 10 minutes. And this one is one of those specials. In this one, Cruella DeVille steals this one train car thing to give to a little boy because money, obviously. And, I mean, it's really funny. I mean, it seriously is really funny and a very good special. It's just Cruella, Jasper, and Horse just trying to run a train. It's good and definitely deserving of number 3. The silver medal would go to Bad to the Bone. This episode really does remind me of Love 'Em and Flee 'Em, but at least, I mean, Rowley can join the whole mooch in the game towards the middle of the episode, so it isn't really all torture for him. But, it was also nice to see that at the end of the episode, it was also nice to see not just Really Afraid of the Snake, but everybody, including Mooch, Two-Tone, Dipstick, and Whizzer. Which, because of that reason, it already makes it better than Love 'Em and Flee 'Em. The only problem about this episode is the ending. I think it's just too much of torturing for poor Rowley. Yes, he did lie, but who cares? It's just too much torturing. But I can look past that and say this episode is pretty good. And number 1, and my personal favorite episode from season 1, would go to A Christmas Cruella. I mean, what else would it be? I mean, what do I have to say about this episode? It's perfect. It's good. And obviously, it's just a good old Christmas carol just told by the 101 Dalmatians and Cruella instead of Scrooge and everybody else. I love the whole ending too, with Cruella just being really nice, and even at one point singing with a whole bunch of carolers, even though she doesn't sing good. It was still silly to see, and of course there was that one point where she drove in her car and just drove downtown and completely destroyed the snowman, but just turned them into angels. And I love how she just randomly just picks up a Whizzer who just pees on her at the end as well. Very good episode. And that was me ranking, I think, most, if not all, of the season 1 episodes. If I forgot about any episodes, please let me know down in the comments, because I have a feeling I did, but I don't think I did. Just making sure I didn't. So, yeah. I will see you next time. Subscribe. Tell your friends, family, anybody you know. Yeah. I'll see you next time. Bye.